$240 we pay every year for Lightroom, and it's just gone up. So I downloaded every alternative for Lightroom and tested them out. Some I use every day now, some are one-time payments, some are free, another $5 a month, another $60 a year. We can be buying software outright for a lifetime with that, just this little increase alone. So here's some replacements for Lightroom that I use on the daily now. And I'll also try to match edits from Lightroom and these other softwares just to see if it's even possible to do that, how easy it is to do. I've done over 1,000 lessons in Lightroom about color and fine edits. So I'm really particular about my software, but also there's a lot of options out there that it looks like you're saving money, but really you're spending more because of these hidden fees, or you're paying for updates. But here's all the alternatives. Okay, let's start off with some free options. So this first one I really wish I knew about sooner. So Apple Photos. So then click on edit, and we have a really strong amount of tools here. So we've got the curves that feel really good. I think no editing applications complete without the curves. We have HSL, we have noise reduction, sharpening, vignetting, and then really strong white balance, which is really important for quick adjustments. So we can, for this example, cool it down, remove some green. So I really like this. It has everything. I'm actually super surprised by it. This tool here is a really strong tool that I haven't really seen in Lightroom either. Removing the reds or adding the opposite of red into wherever you want in the image. Really like this tool too. Turning these effects on and off. Resetting tools. Closing them up. And it's Apple on Mac, so it's just responsiveness couldn't be any better. Real-time editing. And then what's been recently added is here, clean up. So we now have an erase tool, which works kind of funny, but they're really good. And a retouch tool as well. So this is already replacing a lot of Lightroom. So super impressed. We have the options to create albums. I think you can get a long way, especially in terms of just correcting the look of your images and going for a very natural look. Creating styles, I think hard in here, but going for minimal edits, great color balancing. You could do it all within here. And some people run into the issue where it's always updating to iCloud. They don't have iCloud storage. So what you do is just hold down Option and then create new library. To create new, you can save it wherever you want. So in the downloads, and then it won't be syncing to your iCloud because raw photos take up a lot of space. This next software I really think is the next competitor to Adobe. I kind of feel sorry for all the other little softwares out there trying to come out. So it is Photomator, but it's been acquired by Apple recently, and they're just bringing in all this super good AI, and the prices come way down. Yeah, so let's look at this new Apple software. So Apple Photos kind of lacked the AI, the filters, the organization of photos. So we have a really good way of organizing photos. We've got the star system. We've got, we can search all through file names. We can flag, we can star, we can organize the photos, pretty much the same as Lightroom. Super fast. I imported 500 raw photos super quickly. So as you can see, we have temperature, we have all the sliders we need here. We have clarity, texture, we have hue, saturation, so all the hues. We have selective color, so that's going to be HSL. We have color balance, exactly the same as split toning, color grading, levels. So this is kind of the red, green, and blue channel a little bit. And we have the curves that are, again, super nice. And we've got the red, green, and blue channels. Color placement, so just changing colors. Fade, which is really interesting, which I would not recommend. Interesting that they got that there, black and white. Color monochrome. So this is interesting to just give your image a monochrome look. Really interesting, because that can be quite hard to manually put into your image. I don't think it looks great at the moment. Channel Mixer, Capture One doesn't have this, but Lightroom has it, so really good. So that's the color calibration in Lightroom. We have LUTs, so we can import LUTs. Capture One has that. A lot of people like that. Vignette, pretty simple. Sharpening and grain, and then intensity. And we have layers we can work in on here. So really powerful here. Okay, and then we have really good clone stamping tools. These are freaking as good as Lightroom. We have, so this is more of a clone stamping tool, this one. This is like a healing stamp, so we've got all that, super good. We've got all the cropping, same as Lightroom, everything we need there. And then the next really powerful thing we need to compete with Lightroom is filters and brushes in AI. So maybe an image like this one, if we went to here, plus select subject, really quick, also do select sky, radial filters, all of that, but then yeah, we can add or remove things, or color ranges. So a radial, a gradient, we can only affect down here if we wanted. Add, so subject and this radial up here if we wanted for some reason. Exposure, some light coming in to hit the subject, something like that. So speed here is like a 10 out of 10. AI functions are pretty good, maybe not perfect, but super powerful. So there's quite a few other functions. Super resolution will add resolution to your blurry photos, which works really well. Increase resolution, I've played around with these work really well as well. This really is a strong competitor for Lightroom and Adobe, and being Apple, it's going to be on your iPhone, it's going to be on your iPad, and they're going to obviously really add to the AI functions. Yeah, and the pricing is pretty unreal. These big companies kind of are squashing these smaller alternatives now, so value for money is pretty crazy here. It's hard to beat this one. There's just about no functions missing from Lightroom I can think of. Also, what we can do is do a quick edit. We can create a preset here by clicking the plus. So we just created a preset, and then it also comes with a lot of presets here. So it's interesting to look at the curves, seeing what all these presets are. I honestly don't see any really functions missing. Navigating of photos, editing a lot of photos at once still works here. So we could go save as we come out. We could copy adjustments, and we could paste adjustments. And yeah, I love Apple. So this is kind of the Lightroom replacement. You'll want to look at Pixelmator Pro as well. So this is kind of the Lightroom, Photoshop and designing replacement for, or competitor to Adobe. I'll probably purchase this one. This is New Zealand dollars, not US dollars. It's like 50 US dollars. I'll probably try this one at some stage. So it's by far out of the paid options the most similar to Lightroom. I've heard a lot of people like the layout and the speed. You do have a lot of robust color adjustments you can make in Capture One, and it seems very fast, very responsive, even faster than Lightroom. So here's an image I've always really loved the colors of. Reset, so bland out of camera, and then we really make it rich and quite filmic. So I wanted to try to recreate it in Capture One. So what I did is just bring Lightroom over here. This is Capture One here. What I did is just change the background. Default, I think it's on dark in Capture One. We want it on white, so it's the same as Lightroom. So what I did is just try to do all the same settings here in Lightroom, but in Capture One, and see what happens. So At the beginning, I just did not get the same results by just copying the settings. I had to really adapt them, especially in the curves. But I was actually really, really pleased here. So if we just open up, we got pretty much the exact same results in under 5 minutes. I followed things such as exposure increase a bit, highlights down, shadows up, whites down, blacks. So I found the exposure contrast all around here is very similar. I found the curves took a little bit different from Lightroom, but all in all, pretty similar. And say the blue lightness had to come down a lot in Capture One, but that's what we did here in the Lightroom as well. I dropped the clarity by 3 here, but in Capture One, I'm looking at about -40 to get the same kind of softness I see in this image. And then I did the split toning as well, the same way as Lightroom. So warm shadows, the highlights of purples, and then you can see in the curves here, so green. I tried to match them up, but they weren't exactly. So there's a bit more blue throughout the highlights, so that's what we've got here. The reds a bit more down than the greens. I have never done this before. I've never used Capture One before, but I've done 1,000 videos in Lightroom. It's not so much about the editing software, it's more about your knowledge and how color works with each other, and definitely the curves in terms of a tool, and they impact color a lot. So I did this really surprisingly within 5 minutes. Yeah, very speedy, very snappy. I like Capture One for that. I'm just not sure where the sharpening is in this one. I'd like to drop the sharpening. I don't see it in here. Bit more of like a smoothness in the shadow area, so I might come back to the curves, try to drop the mids a little to get a smoother roll off. But we do have a lift here in the mids compared to the shadows. So yeah, I find the curves are a little different. So a lot of people ask me if my course, they can do it in Capture One. Totally. Looks very, very, very similar. It would actually be a great exercise, and you'd learn a lot about color by converting these from Lightroom to Capture One. Before and after. And then Capture One does have styles, so these are your presets here. I've heard people say that they're just not the same as presets. They're not as much of a workflow as, although they do the same thing, apparently they just don't catch on. People don't love them as much as the Lightroom presets. Yeah, I was super surprised how easy that was to recreate and edit in Capture One. I also messaged the best Capture One editors I know. But I personally would not buy the software and expect I have a lifetime license without paying for any updates. Like, you have a lifetime license to this version of the software. If the software gets updated, you can get charged more for different versions. I think Capture One's already done that. So just be aware of that. So the price is almost 2 years of Lightroom. Where it massively outdoes Lightroom is apparently within tethering. So that's when you're shooting and you want to see the photos and work on the photos and you're in a studio environment. And this does have AI features and functionalities, but Lightroom is still quite a bit ahead in terms of AI features, masking, generative fill, all those really powerful tools. For a feel, it feels very good and very, very snappy, responsive, and everything works very good. It feels very nice in this software. On One Photo Raw. So here we have much more organization of our photos, labeling. We can see all of the metadata, and in the editing, everything feels pretty good. I get a little bit worried, like when you up the contrast, it doesn't do it as pleasing way as, say, Lightroom and such, but everything feels very like Lightroom. The good thing is there's a lot of YouTube tutorials about the software. My main concern in here was I thought they didn't have the curves, but you have to come across, add a filter And then you've got all these options here. So film grain, blur, curves, and now this is how you access the curves to do work in curves. And they feel pretty good. If you've watched my tutorials before, I'm all about the curves. That's how you just completely get any style you want, is by mastering the curves. So yeah, this is a massive upgrade from free options for just $40. It's got a little bit of a feeling like Photoshop. Okay, so AI features are pretty slow, but we can just find faces, and you can see how it's automatically just trying to smooth, retouch the face by just a slider there. Blemishes, detail. Yeah, so pretty good on the AI feature. Teeth whitening, so including a lot of interesting features here. So can't complain, like speed, just the organization of all your photos really levels up those free options. Really good option for $40. Right now I'm just trying to find filters, which I'm sure they will have, but I love when you can just open a software and you don't have to watch tutorials and can find everything. We got brushes. Yeah, a lot of points for this one for value for money and massive upgrade from free options. Okay, now we're in raw therapy. Very quickly, what made this free software unusable for me is the resolution of the photos. It looks like it's okay when you zoom in, it will show you the resolution, but zoomed out, I just don't see the kind of resolution I want from my photos. So automatically I'm pretty turned off. I'm not sure if there is a way to make it more clear, but that's not clear enough. Yeah, the responsiveness is pretty slow. It's not usable for what I do. The software comes up in a lot of recommendations, but I think it's because it used to be a good option for replacing Lightroom, and nowadays there's just way better options that have come in. Last couple of years, you can see that the design is very old. I also came across Dark Table. I didn't even want to download. I tried to download that onto my laptop, but I couldn't. And I don't even really want to use it. It looks a lot like Raw Therapy, where it looks like it used to be a really good alternative to Lightroom. So we also kind of want to cover Photoshop at the same time if we can. Photopea is a really good cloud editor, so we can just drag and drop. We're gonna get a bunch of editing, a lot like Photoshop. You're taken into Camera Raw first, or open. We now open, and it looks a lot like Photoshop. I have to say it has all the features and it looks exactly the same. So no software to download or anything, works really quick. So we're focusing more on Lightroom, but Affinity Photo is probably your best bet to replace Photoshop. Should you stick with Lightroom or go with these other options? Lightroom is definitely ahead, and everything is so fast, selecting sky, and so accurate. The AI features, Lightroom is ahead. Like when you are choosing a software, we don't want to base it on the software has slightly better AI. So the biggest thing with Lightroom is the ecosystem with your devices, and also just the ecosystem of presets and other creatives that use Lightroom. Like everyone I know of uses Lightroom, and all the guest editors in my course, when I reach out to them, would you teach within this color editing Lightroom course? Not one of them has come back to me and be like, sorry, I use Capture One. They all use Lightroom, especially if they've been doing photography for a long time. You want to pick a software you can grow with. If you're serious and you want to be professional, you can grow with Lightroom and learn a lot faster, I think, because of presets, because of tutorials online. I made 1,000 of those. There's courses, presets, other creatives to collaborate with and talk about with. There's more of them. And to have your own style in photography takes a long time. It takes a lot of learning. So if you want to get the most out of Lightroom, I've gathered all these really professional photographers to all teach in one place, preset, raw image, so you can download and go step by step. So rather than downgrading your software, maybe just get the most out of Lightroom. There's so much room to grow in Lightroom, and these one-time payments from other companies. Multiple times I've paid for software, screen recording software, I get hit with a new paid upgrade. So your lifetime license doesn't really count. And that's definitely going to happen. But yeah, that's my thoughts. And yeah, catch you in the next one.